Hi guys, so I'm Anirudh and I'm a fourth year law student at National Law University in Vizag, and I'm going to speak a few words about target test prep. As you can see, I'm actually inside my Australia right now, where I'm giving this video from. So a thing about me is that fourth year law student, National Law University, but one of the issues that I faced during GMAT preparation was with reference to grammar. I was not very well versed with it. While I can hold up a conversation normally in English, I'm actually not very well versed with the rules of grammar. So being a non-native speaker, or even in general, not being that great at English rules, I was really bewildered by sentence correction, and that's been one of the reasons why I scored really bad on my GMAT in my first go. I gave a mock in October sometime, and I got a 600 on it, the official mock there. After that, I didn't really take it very seriously. So in the month of October, I took my first mock, and by November, I was again contemplating whether I should really do GMAT and all of that procedure or not, and whether it's really worth for me and stuff like that. In December, I really took a shot, and I was like, hey, I really want to get into a master's in management course, and I should put in the effort of getting a good score on GMAT. So from then onwards, it was a marathon for me. I used to do like 6 to 8 hours a day. And in that sense, I think the dashboard at TTP really helped me a lot. I actually only prepared on TTP for 1 month. And in the 1 month, I used to spend at least 6 hours to 8 hours a day per day. And maybe sometimes I would like take a couple of days, it wouldn't be as intense, but then I would like recover for it on other days and stuff like that. Yeah, so even though I was like doing an internship and having to attend colleges later on during that 1 month period, I still used to put in a lot of effort, a lot of hours into TTP and my sentence correction game. I think one of the primary reasons for me using TTP was that their verbal, especially the sentence correction part, is very, very thorough. So for instance, I did end up using Manhattan for quite some time, the foundation for verbal, that particular book. And while I did end up going through the book, cover to cover, there were certain aspects of it that really weren't that thorough. I mean, I can't really express this very easily, but like there are certain aspects of normal day-to-day grammar that actually as a person, as an individual, I'm not very well versed with. Having everything spelled out word for word in TTP program, in addition to the fact that they have this reinforcement thing. So like after you finish every single module, there'd be like a mini test where they reinforce the concepts and where you like get a score on how well versed you're with it. And there's an error log and everything. And it was really wonderful. I did end up using GMAT Club also for some time. Like I used to go there and like read up stuff. And that's how I initially actually stumbled upon TTP also. But then the thing about GMAT Club is that it's very disorganized and very chaotic also. I mean, there are questions. I mean, most of them are very properly answered and everything and all that. But there's no way for you to know definitively whether something comes within the purview of the GMAT exam or not. And I think that's where you need to draw boundaries very clearly. If you're planning to do your GMAT exam preparation within like a month or two and just finish it up. So for instance, I started my preparation somewhere in December and I wrote my GMAT in February and I got a 720. So it was like a 600 to a 720 jump in close to 2.5 months. But for that, I had to really focus on ensuring that everything that I studied was for the GMAT exam only. And I didn't end up studying for random things on like forums, which were way too complicated or completely unnecessary for the exam. And in that sense, I think the course is very thorough. I mean, you wouldn't have to wonder whether or not this particular question would be coming for the GMAT or not, but whether this kind of concept would be coming for the GMAT or not. So that's one thing. Second, I did end up using some parts of the quants of TTP, but then there's a thing that I actually I did end up studying maths, physics, and chemistry in my 11th and 12th, and I was well versed with like maths. I'm like decently comfortable with maths, and so I didn't really find it very useful, the kind of detail in which maths is being taught. It's essentially high school grade concepts, and they're not that difficult. So I did end up skipping most of it, like just going through it as quickly as possible. But do keep in mind, there are a couple of points that are really, really useful. There are those nuances, I would say. And there are like certain charts and summaries and all that stuff that are really, really nice. I mean, there's no particular section where they keep like the summaries of all the important points in TTP. But then if you do end up going through it, at some of the modules, you'll find that they're very nicely summarized in like a chart or two. And so it's something like the properties of zero, properties of one, things like that. I really found them useful to have it in like a chart format, the way they gave it in TPP. Now, the RCs and CRs, they were nice. I wouldn't, especially our CRs were really nice. They were segregated properly. The RCs, with reference to 2 or 3 domains, they were very well done and all that. And I understand that it's probably something they're expanding on and probably going to increase it. The integrated reasoning was also quite good. I mean, I didn't have to prepare for integrated reasoning separately at all. So I just did TDP, integrated reasoning, the couple of modules, and that was the end of it all. And essentially, GMAT is a very long, very tiresome journey. And it's essentially aptitude-based exam. So something that you'll have to keep in mind is that it can be very difficult to see progress. I mean, it is not very easy for you to take an exam one day and take an exam 2 weeks later and find a monumental difference. Maybe if you keep testing yourself very regularly, you'll find that you're not improving that significantly from exam to exam or something like that. And I think in that sense, it becomes very important for you to understand that there is incremental improvement that you'd see in yourself. Like if you see that there is a certain kind of question, in 2 weeks you have been able to better understand the nuances of that, even though you can't really get it right this time around, but you understand it at a deeper level. I think that in itself is an improvement that you should treasure. Somewhere TTP with its like reinforcement tests and everything has helped me understand that it is possible for you to get emotional if your scores aren't that good. I mean, after putting in a lot of effort, burning through and like all that nightmare and hell, and suddenly you realize your scores aren't that great, I think it can be really, really depressing. But then somewhere where you have a consistent approach of doing things properly and ensuring that every single concept is as clear as it can be. And I think that adds to the conformity that you would feel with the exam syllabus. And in general, your confidence that, hey, I've done everything I could. And, there is that confidence that you'll get. And I think that's priceless. Yeah. Now, some other tips that I could give is that OG guides and the advanced questions that is given out by GMAT, they're both really nice. They're very good problem solving, question banks and all that. But somewhere they don't really help you with the concepts. I think this is a personal suggestion of mine. You should probably finish the syllabus. You should probably finish the theory and the nuances and everything and get to solving problems at a later stage. That will help build the confidence. I mean, you can work on probably like understanding the theory, understanding the concepts for like a month and a half, or maybe even 2 months, and probably not see like a very significant bump up. But as soon as you start practicing, you'd see the efforts that you put in. Those efforts will bear fruits in terms of like the number of questions you end up getting right because you understand the concepts really well. And so I would suggest you don't start with the questions at the get-go because that will probably demotivate you and all of that. If you start off with the concepts and all that, and then later on move on to advanced questions and the OG guides and everything, I think that will help you feel a little better about the exam. And yeah, one more thing is that I think GMAT at the end of the day is a test of your concentration ability also. I mean, you'd have to be really sharp and really focused for close to 2 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, because I'm not really considering the analytical writing and integrated reasoning part, I know. But then, yeah, so for 3 hours, you'd have to really sit down, concentrate, be really focused. So you'd have to have that skill in you. And that, for me at least, involved that I would not be on social media for a long period of time. I think getting off of Instagram had really helped me increase my attention span. And I think somewhere those apps are not really good for your for writing any kind of competitive exams. I mean, anywhere where your skill and attention has to be tested against a lot of other people. I think being off of social media, being off of Instagram or TikTok, and short time based like content, like things that are just like 5 seconds, 10 seconds videos, things like that. I think they end up having a certain effect on your mind in terms of like your ability to concentrate. So that's something to consider. At least it's something. It has been something that I've had to consider. Maybe that'll help you out. And that's about it. I think if you have issues with sentence correction, at least for me, PTP has been OG. I mean, they have really nailed every single aspect. For a person like me who's really, really bad at grammar, who's had to, I just manage by with sentences and stuff. Understanding the nuances and all of that has been really difficult for me. And so, yeah, KTB has been great in that sense. I've had a really good experience with them. And the people there also have been really, really wonderful. And yeah, that's about it. Best of luck, guys.